Hi everyone, I'm David Aragona, and this is the 2020 TimeformUS Road to the Kentucky Derby Series. In this video, I'll be handicapping the Grade 2 Tampa Bay Derby, one of three major Derby preps on Saturday across the country, though I also did other videos handicapping the Gotham and the San Felipe, which are also taking place on Saturday. You can find those on DRF.com or DRF's YouTube channel. Though the focus here is down in Florida at Tampa Bay Downs on this major Derby prep, the Tampa Bay Derby. Let's throw up the field for this race because you've got 12 runners participating, though the focus, though, is really on two of them, those being the number 7 Sol Volante, who is the 2-1 morning line favorite, and the number 4 Chance It, who is 5-2 on the morning line. These two come in with the best credentials, though there are some others that are up and coming, especially a few horses coming out of maiden races who figure to garner some support. We'll take a look at the TimeformUS pace projector before we get to these major contenders in the race, and it's an interesting pace projector to discuss because you've got a bunch of horses who are shown towards the front of the pack that aren't necessarily front-running types. The number 11 King Guillermo is shown on the early lead. Now, that's based on a turf race when he went gate to wire 2 back breaking his maiden. In his one dirt race, he did not show any speed at all, so I think it remains to be seen if this horse has the speed on dirt to be on the lead in this race. He might not be that forwardly placed. The number 5 Market Analysis, another horse who should be forwardly placed in this race, well, we'll see if that's the case. He's stretching out for the first time. Todd Pletcher also has the number 1 Texas Swing, who showed up towards the front end. I don't think these two Todd Pletcher horses are going to hook up on the front end, but we'll see how that all plays out. A fast pace would help a horse like the number 7 Sol Volante, who's shown towards the back of the pack. And let's start with Sol Volante and take a look at his past performances. This horse has a big turf pedigree, especially going back to the second generation. It's one of those Flaxman Holdings dam families of some good European bloodlines. This horse is one that I thought was a turf horse when I saw him win that Pulpit Stakes so impressively 3-back. Turns out he's actually better on the dirt. That Mucho Macho Man 2-back that he ran behind Chance It and as seen on TV, that was no fluke because he actually improved on that performance in his second dirt start last time over this racing surface in the Sam F. Davis. And let's take a look at that performance last time. A lot did go right for him in the Sam Davis because it was a pretty honest pace up front, two horses going at it on the front end. His main rival, Independence Hall, was right behind those horses, made the first move into the pace to take the lead coming to the quarter pole, and Sol Volante, who lagged way back in the early going, made this big sustained run around the far turn, gets on even terms with Independence Hall and forges past him late. Don't take anything away from Sol Volante, though. Even though he got a fast pace to close into, he really did make that long sustained run and draw away at the end of this race, showing that he wanted every bit of this mile and the 16th distance. Despite his pedigree, it seems like he continues to get better on the dirt, going longer. He's going to get pace to close into it in this race. If you look at his TimeformUS late pace rating of 106, that is the highest in this field, and typically you want horses with high TimeformUS late pace ratings in races that are predicted to feature fast paces. So if that pace does materialize as the pace projector predicts it will, then I think Sol Volante is very dangerous. He is simply the horse to beat, makes a ton of sense. I'm going to try to beat him in this race because he's going to be a pretty short price, but I do respect his overall talent. His main rival is the number 4 Chance It, and Chance It is a horse that has won me over. I was skeptical of him last year when he wasn't beating much down in Florida in a lot of those restricted Stallion Stakes races. But last time out in the Mucho Macho Man, he put in a pretty game effort to fend off as seen on TV. We'll take a look at these two horses coming through the stretch of that race. Now, as seen on TV, the runner-up here did come back and disappoint a little bit last weekend at the Fountain of Youth when he was third behind Ete Indian, who was the impressive winner of that race. But as seen on TV, did come back and still earn a respectable 110 TimeformUS speed figure in that Fountain of Youth. So I think the performances in this Mucho Macho Man have really held up. And Chance It is really game at the end of this race to fend off as seen on TV. He does drift out quite a bit and, in my opinion, probably should have been disqualified. But still, take nothing away from this horse's performance because he got the mile that day and finished strongly. He also got a mile on the 16th at the end of his 2-year-old season when he won the In Reality Stakes back in September. Now, that was against much weaker company that he'll be facing going a mile on the 16th in this Tampa Bay Derby, but I'm not so convinced that this horse can't get the distance with the right setup. He's going to be stalking the pace here in all likelihood. They did scratch out of that Fountain of Youth when he drew a poor post position. He drew a much better post position in this Tampa Bay Derby, breaking out of gate number 4. Paco Lopez takes over the reins. That's really not a negative rider switch at all, and I just think Chance It is likely to work out a pretty favorable trip here, and I don't mind him going this distance. I'm not going to like him going further down the road in a race like the Kentucky Derby going 1.25 miles, but this Tampa Bay Derby might be the right fit for Chance It, and I think he's a horse that you really do have to use. Now you've got 3 intriguing runners coming out of maiden special weight races. Let's begin by talking about the horse who won his debut last time, the number 5 Market Analysis. And of these horses coming out of maiden victories, Market Analysis is the one that figures to attract the most support. Todd Pletcher has 3 runners in this race, and Market Analysis is going to be the most appealing of those for most people. He earned a 105 TimeformUS speed figure when he broke his maiden, going that 7-furlong distance at Gulfstream Park last time. And let's take a look at that performance. He takes the lead coming to the top of the stretch, Forges clear. Looks like he's going to go off and win impressively, but he gets a bit leg worried in the late stages of this race. Attachment Rate, who finishes second here, is really getting to him in the late stages. Attachment Rate does come back and break his maiden out of this race. He'll actually be running in the Gotham Stakes in New York on Saturday, but Market Analysis is game to hold on. What I didn't like about this maiden victory is if you watch the start of this race, he does not break well at all. He breaks over a length slowly and has to rush up to make the early lead here. He's going to have to overcome those gate issues to be competitive in this Tampa Bay Derby, because you can't be stepping up out of a maiden race into graded stakes company and still be making mistakes at the gate. So you want to see Market Analysis get over that. I'm also not sure how far this horse ultimately will want to go. Based on the dam side, a mile and 16 probably shouldn't be a problem. He's by Honor Code, who we've seen him impart some stamina into his progeny so far, but this horse just doesn't strike me as one that's going to be a 1.25 mile kind of horse down the road. I could be wrong about that. I just think there are some other horses in this race who might be a little more suited to longer distances. Perhaps it doesn't matter this time, but I just wanted to find some more value with some of those other recent maiden breakers. Another one of those is the number 2 Spa City. He went the 1 1/8 distance last time when he broke his maiden. We'll take a look at that performance when he fended off another horse in this race, Unrighteous. So Spa City will actually be cutting back in distance to go 1.16 miles in this Tampa Bay Derby. Spa City had everything his own way in this maiden score. The pace of this race was pretty moderate. It was dominated by horses towards the front end. Unrighteous tries to take a run at him in the late stages, so Unrighteous, you see, is a little bit green through the stretch, and Spa City is able to fend him off. Spa City's a likable horse. He did not want to go 6 furlongs in his debut, but he's improved with every subsequent start as they've stretched him out in distance. He's got a really nice pedigree on him, and he just is this big, brawny tank of a horse who seems like he's going to want to run all day. My issue is that Spa City had everything go his way from a trip standpoint last time. In this Tampa Bay Derby, if you look at that pace projector again, he is predicted to be farther back in the pack here. And I'm not sure that he's the kind of horse that's shown he can really run through kickback. He sometimes has been a little bit green in his races when he's been behind horses. He didn't have to deal with that last time, so I'm a little skeptical that he can repeat that last speed figure, getting a different kind of trip this time. The horse that I prefer coming out of the maiden race, and the horse that I'm going to make my top pick in this race, is the number 1 Texas Swing. Now, Texas Swing is going to have to run a little bit faster in this race, because that 104 TimeformUS speed figure that he ran when he broke his maiden last time out of Tampa Bay Downs, it's not quite good enough to get the job done here, but he feels like the kind of horse that will continue improving with experience and will especially continue to improve with added distance. Let's take a look at that maiden victory last time out at Tampa Bay Downs. It was actually on the Sam F. Davis undercard, and he didn't run that much slower than the main event. He was going a different distance, 1.40 miles, but I like this performance. He led throughout, gamely fended off multiple challenges around the far turn and into the stretch. I thought the second and third place finishers in this race are actually pretty good. Don Bourbon is coming out of a similar maiden race to the one that Spa City exits 2 back. He ran well that day. He showed that he has some quality. And the third place finisher, Jokari, another horse for Todd Pletcher, is one that I think you want to look for when he shows up in a maiden race again next time. But Texas Swing was game to win this race and turn away those 2 rivals. He definitely has a pedigree that says the more distance he gets, the better. He's by Curlin. His dam is by Tisnow. She is a full sister to the Travers winner, Colonel John. So really just stamina breeding top and bottom here. I love the post position. He's drawn down towards the inside. Based on that pace projector, he's going to be forwardly placed, and we'll see what his stimulate Market Analysis does. We'll see if he breaks slowly again. We'll see if that turf horse, King Guillermo, has speed. The others, we'll see how forwardly placed they are, but I think Texas Swing, whether he's on the lead or gets into that pocket stalking trip, he's going to work out a pretty good journey in this race. So I like Texas Swing. He's 12-1 on the morning line. I don't know if we'll get that high of a price, but I think he's going to offer some value in this race. So I'm making Texas Swing my top pick. I'll use him primarily with Chance It and Sol Volante, those 2 favorites. I really do think they're pretty formidable in this race. And I'll use Spa City as a bit of a backup because I do think he has ability if he also works out the right trip in this Tampa Bay Derby on Saturday at Tampa Bay Downs.